In Chapter 4, we're going to be talking about problem solving, proactive policing. Problem solving is proactively identifying problems and making decisions about how to best deal with them. A basic characteristic of community policing is that it is proactive rather than reactive, meaning that it involves recognizing problems and seeking their underlying causes. In other words, not just treating the symptoms of the problem. So what is problem-oriented policing? Well, problem-oriented policing is a departmental-wide strategy that's aimed at solving persistent community problems. The police are identifying, analyzing, and responding to the underlying circumstances that create incidents, the problems that's occurring out in our communities. During the past quarter century, law enforcement agencies around the country have combined the operational strategies of community-oriented policing and problem solving to address crime and quality of life issues. Problem-solving policing requires police to group incidents and identify the underlying causes of these problems that are taking place out in our communities. So problem-oriented policing and community policing deals with community-oriented policing, which means changing the daily work of the police to include investigating problems as well as incidents. So it means defining as a problem whatever a significant body of public opinion regards to be a threat to the community. So if anybody in the community sees it as a problem, then it's going to be a problem for the police. In other words, it means working with the good guys and not just working against the bad guys. Let's talk about the SARA model. The SARA model actually has 4 stages. It has scanning, analysis, response, and assessment. Okay, in the scanning portion, it refers to identifying recurring problems and prioritizing them to select one problem to address. The problem should be of concern to the public as well as to the police. Now at this stage, broad goals can be set to take care of these problems. Well, in the analysis, this examines the identified problems, the causes, the scopes, and the effects of them. It includes determining how often the problem occurs, how long it has been occurring, and what conditions appear to create the problem. So analysis also should include potential resources and partners who might assist in understanding and addressing the problem. So it's not just the police, it's other entities getting involved in order to help resolve these issues. In the response stage, this is acting to alleviate the problem. This is selecting the alternative solution or solutions to try. This might include finding out what other communities with similar problems might have tried and what success they have had. Focus groups might be established to brainstorm possible interventions. Experts might be enlisted. There's several alternatives that might be ranked and prioritized according to the difficulty of them, the expense of them, and the like. So at this point, goals are usually refined and intervention is implemented at this stage. In the assessment portion, this refers to evaluating the effectiveness of the intervention. How did it solve your problem? If not, why? So this is what we're doing in this. You're assessing the problem, and if it didn't work, then you're starting over and you're working through it all over again to try to get to the bottom of what takes place. And again, SARA deals with scanning, analysis, response, and assessment. So all of these are part of taking care of the problem, and that way you won't have to worry about the problem continuing to recur because you're addressing the issues, the underlying issues, and not just the surface problems of what's taking place. So let's talk about problem solving at work. problem solving at work. And here are just a few of the different states and cities who have implemented different problems. And in San Diego, California, for example, they had a prostitution problem. The business strip was plagued with prostitution, and the initial police response was to attempt undercover arrest so that they can arrest the Johns and the prostitutes. Now, although they were able to take hundreds of Johns into custody, few prostitutes were arrested because they knew the undercover detectives when they saw them. Well, the police decided to take a problem-solving approach to improve their results. And in examining the problem, the officers learned many of the prostitutions were transients who would stay in the area only while it was profitable for them. So to diminish the profitability, the police obtained a temporary restraining order that prohibited the prostitutes from flagging down motorists and from loitering on the corners or participating in any other solicitation conduct within 100 yards of the plaintiff's businesses. Violation of these restraining orders meant that they'd immediately go to jail for 5 days and a $1,000 fine. Well, needless to say, 1 month after this temporary restraining order was obtained, the problem was solved. Prostitutes abandoned the area, customers no longer cruised the business strips, and businesses reported increase in their revenues once again. So the area has remained free of prostitution for more than 3 years now. So these type things work, and these are just some examples of what some cities and some other districts or areas have done in order to implement problem-solving solutions to solve their problems. Well, in summary, a problem-solving approach requires police to group incidents and identify underlying causes of the problems. So they're not just dealing with the surface, they're dealing with all of the underlying problems. And what problem solving does is it groups incidents as problems. And you can put the SARA model into process by scanning for whatever problems you have. You must analyze them. After you've done a thorough analysis, then you form a response to how to address the problem. And after that, you have to assess what has taken place to see if what you implemented has actually made a difference. The DOC model challenges officers to carefully consider their decisions as well as the short and long-term consequences of their decisions. Also, there's things such as crime mapping that shifts the focus from the criminal to the location of the crimes. And crime mapping just simply deals with plotting where these incidents are occurring so that police can respond to these incidents. And once we implement these things and put all this into place and get the community involved and implement SARA, we should see a change in the crime and the patterns of crimes that are taking place in our communities.